And many of us, Psych Perspectives, GeoFucks, part 2, and many of us never really got the careers that we thought we were going to get. Because again, people go into these majors thinking that they're going to be doing all of these great things. But when you talk to your average college degree holder, most of us are not even working in our fields. We may be doing something related, but I use related in quotes because that's used very loosely. Because again, I'm a social scientist. I went to school for sociology and social sciences. I have a master's of arts in social sciences. So related work is used very loosely because it's really not related. Like I should be at a college campus or a political think tank, something of that nature, doing data, doing research, and I'm not doing any of that. So that's what I mean by a lot of us ended up going into jobs that we could get because we had bills and responsibilities. We still have bills and responsibilities. So regardless of what we personally want to do or what we went to school for, doesn't really matter when you have to pay bills. So that's how a lot of people end up doing shit that is not related to what they went to school for. But okay, so then I did that. And then of course, the grant program at the first part-time nonprofit didn't get renewed. So we lost that job because the grant didn't get renewed. And then the second part-time nonprofit job, that grant also didn't get renewed. So again, that's the problem with working at nonprofits as well. Well, one of the many problems is that if your grants aren't being renewed, guess what? That's not job security. You can't really bet job security at nonprofits. I'm just going to be honest. Because at any given time, they can either lose a grant or all of a sudden change their strategic planning. Now your whole department or whatever role you had is no longer important because they're not looking at that anymore and they've picked something else that they want to work on. So hopefully, they'll migrate or not migrate. They will transition you into a different role to fit the new narrative or whatever that grant deliverables are. Okay. So then I ended up at another nonprofit part-time because at that time I was enrolled back in school to pursue my master's of arts in social sciences. So, and then I also ended up getting an externship. So I was in college working with another professor on their research that they were doing. So that's what I was doing on top of having my part-time job. On top of, then I ended up I got a job on campus on top of that. So technically I was working 3 jobs and going to school full time and still heavily a part of Black Student Union at U of M, heavily a part of the student government at U of M, college Democrats. I was doing everything that we were told to do and then some, not to mention that this was dear to my heart. Okay, so again, just giving you a trajectory of the types of jobs that I've had. Fast forward to now, I'm at a nonprofit. And, I now make $49,280 a year. Gross annual income before taxes and deductions. But after taxes and deductions, you will quickly see how pathetic this is because number one, I have 10 plus years of experience. I have a master's of arts in social sciences. And also the cost of living has basically doubled and tripled. I mean, literally, we're looking at anywhere between 20 to 30% differences in how much things cost from what it was 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay. All right. And the buying power of our American dollar or the USA, money is low and pathetic. So if I was making this 10 years ago, I would have been jumping up and down like, oh my God, I can finally do this and I can do that. But I'm 10 years too late. And again, this is what I should have been making coming out of college with a bachelor's degree. This is what I'm talking about by a lot of us end up stuck in underemployment and stuck being paid low wages. And that's the problem, because I'm nearly at 50K. I needed this in 2014 when I graduated with my bachelor's. Okay? We're getting this 10 years later with a master's, and the cost of living is way high. Like, it's 10 years too late. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful. I'm very blessed. I'm very privileged. I'm very thankful, because it's hard out here. And I'm lucky and I'm thankful and I'm blessed to have a job, to have a source of income, to have health care, right? And at the same time, I and many other people should be making anywhere between, we should be making 80, 90, 100,000 or more by now. I'm just going to be real. A lot of us should be making six figures or more, okay? Or really close to making six figures or more. Okay, especially when you look at your education, your years of experience, your countless certifications, and also the cost of living. So again, it makes no sense. I'm still being underpaid about $30,000 because, again, when you look at what people with master degrees should be making, we're supposed to be in the 80,000 percentile, and we're not. Many of us are being paid like we don't have the damn degree to begin with. On top of the fact that we have student loans. You know, I still owe $46,000, which is also full of shit, considering I've been paying on my student loans since May of 2014 when I graduated the second time with my bachelor's. And I say all of this because when you look at auto pay, you would think at 31 or in your 30s or your 40s or after going to college and getting your degree and you have a full-time job or whatever, you would think auto pay would not be a problem. Like, you know what I mean? You should be able to comfortably afford shit. But due to the cost of living and the USA basically saying this to everybody on a consistent basis, a lot of us cannot afford to do things. So that auto pay really be hurting folks because people don't be expecting that money to just be and then a lot of times you forget what you put auto pay on. You know what I'm saying? And you forget the due dates. And a lot of times with auto pay, they take your money out anywhere from 3 to 5 days before it's actually due, which is also ridiculous to me. Like, if it ain't due to the 15th, why are you taking it out the 12th? If it ain't due to the 18th, why are you taking it out on the 15th? Like, what is that? But that's a whole nother video. A lot of us don't know if we can get haircuts, don't know if we can go out to eat. And mind you, a lot of us don't have children. We don't have kids. So when you see the struggles that a lot of us are going through as single people with no kids, it's crazy that we can't afford shit. And the outcome part is we're not talking about spending booga money. I'm not going to Dubai. I'm not driving a Mercedes Benz. I'm not driving a Tesla. We can't afford to go to concerts. We can't afford to go out to eat. You can't really afford to go on a decent date. For real. Because by the time you done paid your bills, how much do you actually have left over? So I just wanted to make a video on that. Because it's like the trajectory that a lot of us thought that we were going to be on because we went to college is not what we ended up getting. And I'm not trying to tell people don't go to college. But if you have to take out a bunch of student loans to go to college, I'm going to keep it real. It ain't worth it. Now, if you're able to go and you're paying out of pocket or your family's paying for you or you got a full ride scholarship or you got grants that don't have to be repaid, go for it. But if you find yourself going into massive student loan debt, it's not worth it. It's just not. The return on investment is not there. Again, I make $49,280 before taxes and deductions, and I still owe $46,000 for my student loan debt. So realistically speaking, I'm never going to be able to pay that off working these types of jobs. Yet these are the only types of jobs that are typically available to people with my education. And again, we got to pay bills, so we take what we can take. And then a lot of us are working 2 and 3 jobs. Again, I have a part-time job and a side hustle, and I'm working on other business ventures. You know what I'm saying? So again, a lot of us, we are working, if we're being real, we're working 12, 16, 18-hour days. We're lucky to get 6 hours of sleep, okay? And again, this is not healthy at all, and people shouldn't have to go through all of this. Again, we deserve living wages. Your wages should reflect the cost of living and should take inflation into consideration. There's probably going to be part 3 to this.